Every once in a while, a weapon gets added to Call of Duty that's just plain fun to use. It may not be very practical, but it's definitely enjoyable. A few weeks ago, such a weapon was added to Black Ops 3. I had forgotten that you received COD points for pre-ordering Infinite Warfare, so with Black Ops 3's life cycle winding down, I decided to finally use mine. Lo and behold, I was rewarded with the weapon in question, the D13 Sector. So first of all, the name. I've got to give credit where credit is due. Treyarch was pretty clever here. If you turn the first word into what the cool kids call leet speak, it turns into die. D-I-E. Put it together and you've got the Die Sector. Quite appropriately named considering what this beast can do. So as the name implies, this monstrosity shoots saw blades. You'll get a total of 4 each life without the scavenger perk. If you do run scavenger, each pack will replenish 1 blade. No attachments exist for this gun. Unfortunately, every single shot requires a reload, and the reload time is pretty painful at 2.567 seconds. As you'd expect from such a fearsome weapon, it's a one-shot kill, even on someone using kinetic armor. Not only this, it can go through multiple people and bounce off walls. The ricocheting off walls will still kill enemies. In fact, one of the most amusing ways to get kills with this weapon is firing into a building where you know enemies are, or through hallways that they're probably going to run through. The more enclosed the area, the better. It'll also continue its destruction through items, such as Scorestreaks or the Safeguard robot. This makes it ideal for the Safeguard game mode, but we'll talk more about that in just a second. I should note that the ricocheting appears to be a bit random. If you fire it into an enclosed room, it can ricochet repeatedly before blowing up. If you shoot it against an open wall though, it'll usually ricochet about 3 or 4 times before stopping. Exploding vehicles, by the way, take 1 shot to blow up. So for example, if someone is camping their dick off at the blue car on Nuketown, 1 shot at that car will send them sky high. I'd say the blades travel as fast, if not a bit slower, than the Banshee shotgun. Like I mentioned though, its bouncing is really unpredictable most times, partially because it's hard to aim perfectly level, and partially because a lot of walls have weird surfaces. I should note that you can't hit yourself with the blades, but they can ricochet off of teammates, which is thoroughly annoying. I can't tell you how many times some wiswog teammate of mine walked right in front of my well-lined-up shot, only to have the blade ricochet off his ass and fly into Timbuktu. Movement speed appears slow, but it's actually on par with the LMGs and the assault rifles, offering 95% movement speed. Handling is similar to the launchers, which is pretty slow. I should point out that the saw blades are considered projectiles, so a trophy system will intercept them. The weapon also appears to have similar Scorestreak damage to the Black Cell launcher. I expected it to be pretty weak against the Scorestreaks, but it's actually quite powerful. I tried it against all the destroyable Scorestreaks, and these were my findings. By the way, the UAV is nearly impossible to hit given that it's constantly moving. The counter UAV, on the other hand, is more easily destroyed since it remains stationary for a few seconds. The Guardian and the Sentry Gun were both destroyed in 2 shots. The Cerberus, though, will take 3 shots. Keep in mind that each time you shoot one of these Scorestreaks, the blade passes through in addition to doing damage. So if there's an enemy nearby, they can easily get hit by the ricochet or pass-through effect. Most surprising to me was the Wraith. It only takes 2 hits to destroy it. Now granted, the Wraith is very evasive, so you'll likely miss at least once. Both the Power Core and the GI unit can also be taken down in 1 life using this weapon, with the Power Core only requiring 3 shots and the GI unit requiring all 4. Now when it came to the RAPS deploy ship, I had a few issues. Technically, it takes 4 shots to take out. However, every time I shot the 4th blade at the ship, the blade would simply explode and do no damage. So watch here as my first 3 shots are direct hits, as evidenced by the hit marker symbol. Now watch the 4th shot. It clearly hits the ship, but there's no hit marker. It did this every time, which was quite bizarre. Lastly, the mothership. I saw on Reddit that someone said the Sector can take out a mothership in 3 shots. However, each and every time I attempted it, it required 6 shots, making it not worthwhile. Now I know there's a weak point on the mothership that allows you to take it out quicker with some weapons, but it was still taking 6 shots for me even when hitting that sweet spot. As for the Safeguard robot, like Scorestreaks, it's similar to the Black Cell launcher. It requires all 4 shots to take out the robot. Again though, it does go through it, which is incredibly useful in Safeguard. It'll often kill escorts who are right up against it or directly behind it, which makes it quite effective. Ricochet damage can also hit the Safeguard robot. So if you shoot a wall and it ricochets into the robot, it'll still do full damage as if you directly hit it. As for perks to use with this weapon, you really only need Scavenger. Considering the low blade count of only 4, you'll want to be able to replenish missed shots constantly. The only other perks I would recommend are Gung Ho and Engineer. Engineer is only useful if you plan to use it as an anti-Scorestreak device, as being able to pinpoint where the streaks are is essential. Gung Ho, on the other hand, allows you to fire while sprinting, which can often determine whether or not you live or die in close quarters combat. The sluggish nature of the D13 sector makes being able to fire from the hip quickly very important, and Gung Ho, of course, will help you with this. I was kinda hoping the Fast Hands perk would lower the sprint out time when you ADS with the weapon, but it didn't seem to do much of anything as far as my testing went. Overall, the D13 sector is really a fun gimmicky weapon. Given the ricochet and pass-through effect it possesses, it can be extremely worthwhile as a secondary. The fact that it can also rip through most score streaks is an added benefit. Ideally, this weapon shines in Safeguard, as the blades not only do a big chunk of damage to the robot, but continue right on through, which can lead to multiple kills. Maps that have enclosed locations or tight corridors such as Aquarium, Combine, or Breach are also ideal to run the sector on. Firing a blade through a doorway will result in a ricochet effect that will leave your enemies scrambling for cover. It seems to be balanced fairly well given that it's quite sluggish to use and it needs to be reloaded after every shot, with a rather slow reload time. If you combine all of these attributes, one could argue that the D13 sector is an improved version of the Black Cell launcher, or even the L4 Siege launcher. It's definitely more fun to use than either one of those. There's something oddly satisfying about causing severe pain and dismemberment with every pull of the trigger.